breaking things down here, there's certain ages that all of us really need to pay attention to in regards to certain rules and restrictions in regards to retirement plans. 59 and a half, of course, that's when you can start drawing money from your retirement account without the 10% penalty. There's ways around this using a 72T tax election. I'm not going to bore you there. 62, Al, you're pretty close there, right, bud?
I think I made it.
So what 62 have to do with anything?
Well, that's the first age that you can actually collect Social Security. But you don't necessarily want to collect it then because it'll be over 25% lower than what your full retirement age is. Realize full retirement age is anywhere between age 66 and 67, depending upon when you were born. 70, that's the last age to collect Social Security. There's no reason to wait any longer because it doesn't grow anymore after that point. And then 70 and a half used to be required minimum distribution age. With the Secure Act, Joe, now it's age 72.
So yeah, that's the biggest change here, right? So they pushed it out a year and a half. I mean, wow, all right, thank you very much.
And we're doing a whole show on this, right?
We're doing a whole show.
Guess what? It's that good.
70 and a half turned to 72. And we still got some time to go here.
Let's see, what else are we going to talk about?
But you got to take a look, though, because what is a required minimum distribution, first of all, and why did it come about? Is that once you reach that age now 72, is that you have dollars in a retirement account that needs to be pulled out. And why does the IRS want us to pull the dollars out? Is so they can get their tax money. Every dollar that comes out of a 401k plan is subject to ordinary income tax. So you let all the money defer, and then once you reach a certain age, they're saying, okay, now it's time to take the money out. And each year as you age, you have to pull more dollars out. So instead of 70 and a half, they said, hey, let's push it to age 72. But it's funny, the CARES Act, so we're talking about the Secure Act, but the CARES Act came in and they said, guess what? You don't have to take a required minimum distribution this year if you don't need it. So they're trying to save some taxes on some individuals to say, hey, if you pull those dollars out, you're going to be subject to income tax. Well, we're in a pandemic, so you don't have to. But Al, most of the people that take required distributions, they spend it anyway. Right. So it didn't really matter.
No, it really only affected the people that probably have the most money. But here's an idea for you. If you didn't take your required minimum distribution because you didn't have to, then why not consider doing a Roth conversion with the same amount that you would have taken a required minimum distribution with? Say it was $10,000, $20,000, whatever. Get that money to a Roth IRA. You were expecting to pay taxes on that anyway. Why don't you just transfer that right into your IRA, a Roth IRA, from your IRA 401k. You will pay tax on that, but then you get some money to Roth and get some tax-free growth started. I think that's a great strategy for a lot of people.
No, absolutely, because you cannot convert an RMD. So if you have a required minimum distribution, and let me just give you a quick example here. Let's say if you have $100,000, you turn that age 72, and so here's a factor that you would have to divide it by. So it's roughly about 4%, 3.5%. So you would roughly need to take out about $4,000 out of this $100,000. So you're used to taking the required distribution anyway and paying the tax on it. What we're suggesting is that, hey, if you have to take the $4,000 out, or you're used to taking the $4,000 out and paying tax on it, take that $4,000 and convert it. Now you can convert a required distribution, or the distribution that you would have had taken, now that you can put that directly into the Roth IRA, because there is no RMD this year. So a couple of different things. If you've already taken your required minimum distribution, you could put it back. So they just passed that. They put an amendment in the CARES Act just a little bit ago. So if you've already taken it, paid the tax on it, you're like, you know what, I don't want to pay the tax. I don't necessarily need the cash. You could put it back into the IRA. No harm, no foul, no matter when they took the RMD yet this year.
Yeah, that is true, Joe. And one more thing I want to mention is the age that you can actually do an IRA contribution used to end at 70 and a half. Now it's unlimited. So you could actually be 95 years old and still do a contribution, as long as you have earned income or your spouse has earned income. So that's another thing that passed with the Secure Act.
Yeah, huge. Because the people now have to work until 90, Al.
That's why they did it, right? It's like,
so, I'm going to put a couple of bucks.
I'm 85. A couple more years.
Couple more years. I think it's cool on the Roth side, though, because a Roth is a really good wealth transfer play. The regular IRA is not, and it just got a lot worse When we get back from the break, I'll explain it. We'll break it down. The Stretch IRA is no longer stretchable. So what does that mean to you and your family? Stick around. We'll tell you when we get back from the break. We have a tax planning guide that's going to bust everything out for you too. Go to yourmoneyyourwealth.com, click on that special offer, and you can get the guide to tax planning